Danny, weren't you leaving?
What?
This is a private matter.
Oh, ain't shit private about what... Danny. I'm do it. Okay. He was with your sister, my friend, Andy, at the exact same time. I mean, sharing. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I should take my belt off and whoop your ass with it.
Whoop his ass!
Everybody stop!
Now, ever since last week, in conjunction with this week's episode, especially looking at the comments on my live stream last night, there are a lot of people who disagree with me and say, Jeremy, I don't know what you're talking about. This episode was great. How dare you give it a 2 out of 10? I'm siding with, Danny, because she did not want to sit through the nonsense of the beating around the bush, back and forth stuff. And let me just say this. I have never said that this is not out of character for Danny. Somebody rightfully reminded me, like, Jeremy, remember how you said you didn't really like the season 2 finale? I think one of the reasons you mentioned way back when was that Danny just ended up dragging Zach, because remember, that's when the girls ran into Zach and Fatima in the supermarket, and then they figured out that Fatima was dating Karen's ex, and Danny just threw Zach all up under the bus. And even worse was that I think at the beginning of season 3 or during that same episode, Zach went back to Danny's because remember, at that point in time, I think in season 1 leading into season 2, he had paid like a month's rent and he was allowed to stay there. But after finding out about the whole, oh, you were sleeping with Fatima behind my friend's back, yada, 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 she ended up just, I think, taking Preston's belt and whipping Zach in the same way that Tony wanted to whip Gary with his belt, which was okay. But in any case, she ended up throwing out Zach. And I remember Preston was staying at the apartment at the same time too, because Zach came in there and, she just, I'm like, this man paid rent and you're just going to throw him out. Now, for a majority of season 2, he was staying with Fatima, but that doesn't, get rid of the fact that he paid rent and she literally treated him like that. And, that actually mirrors how she acted in this particular episode about Gary. Now, honestly, I'm standing by what I said. And no, it's like, let me put it this way. We can agree to disagree. And I enjoy the back and forth because I love when people express how they feel about it. And I will say this. I do like that, unlike the Fatima fans trying to drag me or the Karen fans, a lot of people about Danny, they are specifically telling me why they are glad she did what she did, so that's a good thing. And that's what the channel is about, where we can freely express ourselves. But you cannot convince me Danny was in the right here. I think what makes Danny incredibly wrong. See, I hated how she did Zach, but at the same time, her situation life-wise was nowhere near as bad as it was now, because she looks extremely hypocritical because of how she's living in terms of Preston and trying to see Tony now. And now you want to get on Gary, which again, I'm not trying to defend Scary Gary here. Basically, you want to expose him, yet you don't want to address the own elephants in your own apartment. So that's what makes Danny just look so bad, in my opinion. So is she speaking truth? Yes. Does Penelope deserve to know? Yes. But at the same time, the way, just like with Maurice, what was it like over the past 2 weeks? I talked about how Maurice conducted himself like in that lawyer's office and that Andy's office. Now I got to talk about Danny because, again, she was just doing way too much. It was not her place to reveal all that information. And it's just ridiculous to me. You can't justify her actions. I mean, at least to me. I know people like, Andy won't going to do it, so Danny might as well have done it. And the worst part about it is when we finally got Andy talking, she's like speaking in circles and only giving like, surface layer details about the entire circumstances surrounding her and Gary, because it makes it seem like Jasmine was a non-factor. Who knows how much time has been going on? It's like Andy and Gary have been seeing each other for years. I mean, if we're talking in real world time, technically, yes, since 2019. But in terms of the show, that's impossible. And then on top of that, you only mention the fact that her and Andy have both been seeing Gary at the same time, but you don't mention his ex-wife. You don't mention his child. You just basically don't want to throw Andy under the bus completely. You want to make her look like she's a victim in this too, that Gary's the bad guy. Well, the only one who's at fault here, when Andy's as much to blame as well, because she willingly got into an affair with a married man. She knew he was married. And then at the end, then when they get back over to Karen's place, then all of a sudden Danny doesn't want to talk. You know what? I don't even want to tell it. It's like, just shut the... You were running your mouth all at Jordan's house. I want all the tea, girl. He deserves to be exposed. Either you do it or I'm going to do it. And then Tony, what? I ought to take my belt off and whoop you. Yeah, do it. Do it. Shut the hell up, Danny. This is just ridiculous. It's just crazier. It's just crazy to me that the wilder Danny acts, the more just ridiculous she comes. Again, the acting wise is just you could tell Mignon enjoys this role. Mignon enjoys the role. Even if I don't agree with the character, I gotta say she puts on a hell of a performance. It's just like Karen. Ebony, I don't like the character of Karen for the most part, but in those emotional scenes where she's breaking down and, you know, going into a fit, Ebony gets lost in that. And her acting chops show. It's like the way Mignon performs Danny, I could definitely have seen her in some Tyler Perry plays from back in the day. She reminds me of that one character from the plays. I can't think of the actress name, but I know that Jackie from the Medea family, or was it Family Reunion? Jackie! And then she was like the thirsty nurse, and I believe it was called What's Done in the Dark. I know Mr. Brown and Cora were in that one. But yeah, it's just one of those things where I really feel like Danny was doing way too much. She just looks like a major hypocrite. It's like you're trying to expose this man for his cheating ways. And I mean, look at what you're literally on a date with another man when you got a boyfriend at home. So you could just have several seats. Matter of fact, you get in that shady ass van with Tony and drive off somewhere. But I don't care what it's just, no. People like, everybody needs a friend like Danny. How can she tell me something when she can't even accept her own faults? Or she can call out other people's like, you need to open your mouth. You need to say this. You need to say that. But when someone tries to check her in love, she gets all defensive and just decides to throw shots at everybody. So no, Danny, no, she was out of pocket. She was doing too much. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.